What's up guys, Xbox Tech Checker back today with another video. Today we have a very unusual discussion that I don't normally do. We're going to be talking about the new PlayStation 5 reveal and the games that were shown at its event. Now many of you may be wondering, why are we talking about the PS5 if this is an Xbox, channel? Well, at the same time I want to, acknowledge what Sony did right with their show and kind of talk about the overall look of the console compared to the Xbox Series X, and then just kind of talk a little bit more about the games that were shown at the event. So let's start off with games. Now, as far as games, most of what was shown was pretty much anything you kind of expected from Sony. We got a new Spider-Man game, we got the new sequel for Horizon Zero Dawn, and a lot of the games that were shown, sneakily, a lot of them were not actually just PS5 exclusive. Some of them were timed exclusives that will come to Xbox Series X and or just PC. And then a lot of it was pretty obvious, like NBA 2K21 and Resident Evil 8. All types of games that will be coming to the Xbox Series X. But as far as exclusives, they did show off a lot of newer things. Nothing that I was too interested in besides Spider-Man and maybe the new Project Athia game. Godfall looks pretty interesting, but we've known about that since about December. And then last but not least, Ratchet & Clank looked pretty cool, but that's only because it was a game that I played as a young child. But as far as games, they showed off overall 20 games, I believe was what the number was. And the show was fantastic. They started off real quick with throwing everyone off with Grand Theft Auto. We all thought maybe GTA 6 was officially getting announced. Of course, it was just GTA 5 once again saying, hey, I'll be on PS5 and Xbox Series X, which is pretty funny now that game's been out since 2013. But overall, what I liked about the idea of the show is it was a little bit more, not professional, but edited better. But what I'm going to be talking about at the end of this video is how it compares to the Xbox event when they showed off all the third-party games running on Xbox Series X. So we'll get to that part at the very end of the video, so just stick around. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. The PS5 reveal was, not very many of us knew that they were actually going to reveal it, only because PlayStation kept talking about just the games when it came to the event. I kind of felt that they had to show it at this point in time. I mean, it's already June. The console releases sometime this holiday. And what's a perfect time than just in the middle of your game show, showing off all the games that are going to be running on this console that you still have yet to show anything about besides the specs. Now, overall, my thoughts on the design, I think the PS5 is a very ambitious and very interesting design. And that's kind of what I've liked about both Xbox and PlayStation this generation so far is they've gone with designs that, one, portray what they're trying to do with this next gen, and two, are just something we would have never expected in a while. I mean, the PS5, in my opinion, and a couple of my friends' opinions, looks like something you would have seen as like a concept art, but that a fan made, back when like Xbox 720 was going to be coming out soon. All the weird designs that were shown, that's kind of what the PS5 looks like in my opinion. It doesn't look like something Sony would officially make, but it ends up being it. Now, what I mean by the console's design portray what they're trying to go for this next generation is Xbox has been we believe in console generations, but we also believe in connectivity and transparency between, the company and the customers. And therefore they've made a console that's, while brand new, has the latest features, will be basically the newest generation. At the same time, it also connects with the older generation, or currently this generation, allowing their fans to still play on either console that they want. We've known the UI isn't going to change on the Series X because they want it to be fluent between the Xbox Ones and the new Xboxes. And so I think that Microsoft is bridging these two generations, and therefore their console design is very simple, because while the Series X is a lot thicker and a little bit more of a weirder design, it still has a lot of callbacks to the Xbox One X design. The matte black with the fans, nothing too crazy, but yet still a pretty ambitious design if you ask me. Now, many people are arguing that the Series X has a weird design because of how thick it is, but that's because Microsoft is really focusing on the overall cooling system of this console. Now, that also goes the same for the PlayStation 5. What PlayStation has been trying to say with this generation is they still believe in hardcore generational leaps. So they want the PS4 and the PS5 to be very different. They want the games to run better and look better on the PS5. That will also not, for the most part, not be on PS4 at all. And that's kind of what the design is going for. I mean, the PS5 is largely different than the PS4. I mean, the PS4 was, for the most part, just a standard little matte black sleek console. The PS5 is, has these weird curves on it. It almost looks like it has the same curvature of an Xbox 360, but has more to it. Then it has the cool little like tower fins at the top that make it look like the Eye of Sauron. And then the overall centerpiece is just completely like a glossy black, but looks nice. Now overall, the console does lay down on its side, but it does require a stand to do so. I don't know for sure if it requires a stand to just stand up. I would assume so, just because that's what they're showing it with, but everyone knows that most consoles say, hey, use the stand on it, and most people don't. But I don't know exactly how the bottom of the PS5 looks. So, but yes, as far as PlayStation, they're going for something that's ambitious. We're jumping to the next generation, leaving the old generation behind, and that's why the PS5 looks like this. As well as Xbox is over here saying, we believe in the console generation, but we also believe in connectivity, and we want people who are either on Xbox One or Series X to not feel like they are, completely left in the dust either way. So we're going with the design that's still very simple and yet has all this new features. Now, we kind of knew when the not the PS5, but when the DualSense was shown that the console was going to have two separate colors. So, I mean, if you remember the controller, on the top it was all white, while on the bottom it was all black for the DualSense. And that's kind of what the PlayStation 5 is. The two panels on the side are all white, while the main center is black. And kind of the same thing with all of their accessories that were shown at the event. They didn't just show the PlayStation 5, they showed the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition, obviously the DualSense, a charging dock for the controllers, headsets, and a media remote. All had a very similar and very weird design as the PlayStation 5. I mean, the headset looks like it has like two frames. There's a black one and then there's a white one that arches over it. Last thing I want to talk about with the design of the consoles is the size. Now, everyone knows now that the Xbox Series X is at least 2 times thicker than the Xbox One X, maybe even a little bit more thicker than that. But as far as height when they're both standing, the Xbox Series X is just a tiny sliver bit bigger than the Xbox One X. Now, believe it or not, the PS5 is actually much taller than the Xbox Series X when it's on its stand. Maybe off its stand it's still taller, but not as tall. There's no official metrics given by Sony, but if you've seen any of the pictures, people are comparing the size of the disc tray and the USB ports, and based on it, the PS5 is going to be very tall. I mean, I'm going to do my best to represent it, but it's not real. PS5 is probably about that tall, while the Xbox Series X is about that tall. Maybe a little, give or take a few inches and or centimeters. But both are very thick and or tall consoles. It really feels like this generation, both, companies knew that, hey, we are packing a lot of power in these consoles. There's no way we can make them as super slim and small as we usually do. And one thing that does make me nervous for the PS5 is its ventilation. I know the vents do go through the top and into like the sides and all that, but the ventilation doesn't seem like it's that crazy as the Xbox Series X went with. There's a vent on the bottom, back sides, and the top, and then there's also a vapor chamber inside of the Xbox Series X all as well. I don't know the exact cooling system that the PS5 has, but from what I can see, more than likely there will be a vent on the back, and then the one like stretching one on the top, and maybe some on the bottom. But it's hard to tell right now with the PlayStation 5 not showing the entire console. So as far as console design, I'm actually very intrigued by the PS5, and I can't wait to actually get my hands on it. I'm going to be getting the digital edition to do an unboxing and a comparing and an overall review of the console, as well as the Xbox Series X, of course. One of the final things I want to discuss are the type of events that we have just witnessed. A lot of people are trying to compare the PlayStation 5 event that we saw on Thursday and compared to the Xbox event that we had a couple months ago. And this is kind of frustrating me because now a lot of people who were on Xbox's side are now jumping ship saying, oh, Xbox needs to play catch up. They're losing now. They're not being as relevant. And I find that very odd only because of how much Xbox has shown us compared to PlayStation. Xbox has been showing us stuff since December. First, we got the console reveal and the name reveal. And since then, we've seen a breakdown and a rebuild of the Series X. We've gotten like all the information of all the fun features it's going to be. We've seen the features like the quick switch mode between games and all that kind of stuff, the quick resume. And I find it amazing that PlayStation just comes out with one event that shows off a lot of good games that aren't even playing in their highest fidelity, and then finally show their console, and somehow that means Xbox now needs to play catch up. I understand that Xbox hasn't shown all their games yet. Matter of fact, they've only shown technically one game running on the console that is, a next generation game, and that's Hellblade 2. Halo Infinite, none of the trailers or teasers or images that we've gotten of the game have actually yet to be confirmed running on Series X. You can go back and watch any of the trailers. All they say is engine demo. None of it says gameplay captured on Xbox Series X. The only thing that we've seen captured on Series X for next gen is Hellblade 2. So personally, I would say don't start judging either console just yet. I mean, obviously you can judge design however you want to, but don't judge the games that Xbox has shown, because what they showed was only a third-party event. That's games that are developed by developers who aren't necessarily just saying we're focusing primarily on the Series X's specs. These are guys who are like, we are building a game that will work on multiple devices. That includes PCs, which range vary from like a low end to a high end PC, the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. So again, low end and high end. And then the same thing with the Xbox. So they're doing one game or a couple of games that were shown at the Xbox event are essentially not games specifically made for Series X. There were a couple, but in the end, what we want to wait and see is the Xbox event coming next month, which will show first-party developers on how they have made the game to play and take up the best of the Xbox Series X. So that is the event that I will wait to judge both of the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Only because now that Sony's event is over, they are starting to put all their videos of their new games on YouTube, and that way you can watch them a little bit more at a higher fidelity. And then we will see how games that are actually crafted for the Series X will look next month. And hopefully by then Microsoft has had time to make the event a little bit more, more edited, I would say. The only reason I would say that the first Xbox event wasn't like as clean and as performed as the PS5 event is because Microsoft did it so early into the quarantine life that we're all living that I was actually just grateful to get an event, even if the quality of everyone who's talking wasn't that great. But that is it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the PS5 down below, and I will see you on the next one.